All right, class, let's go ahead and start our review on section 2. So let's go ahead and we're gonna write section 2. And first we're gonna start with topic 1. So topic 1 is just identifying if a statement is true or false. Is 12 plus 5 equal to 12 minus 5? I got a 12 and a 5 on both sides of that equal signs, right? But let's actually check that out. Well, 12 plus 5 would be 17, and 12 minus 5 would be 7, right? So are those the same? No, 17 and 7 are not the same. So even though the numbers are the same, the signs are different, right? Opposite. Adding and subtracting are opposites, right? So whatever we're doing, even with the same numbers, is not the same. So let's look at another thing. Let's do 3 times 6 equals 6 divided by 3. Are those the same? No, right? 3 times 6 would give me 18. 6 divided by 3 would give me 2. So those are definitely not the same. So different signs mean different things. So let's talk about opposites. So plus, adding, that is the opposite of subtraction, right? So adding is the opposite of subtraction. And it's pretty obvious to tell what is being added and what is being subtracted. So if I had 2 plus 5, I've got a plus sign in there. If I had x plus y, I've got a plus sign in there. And as far as subtraction goes, same thing. I could have 3 minus 6. I could have a minus b. If you see the plus sign, it's adding. If you don't see a plus sign, it is not adding. If you see a subtracting sign, it's subtracting. If you don't see one, then there's no subtraction. Now let's talk about multiplying and dividing, because those ones could be a little tricky. So if you guys are familiar from grade school, right, the x means to multiply. But now that we're in algebra, that x could also mean an x as far as our alphabet goes, right? X, Y, A, right? We can use different letters. So we can no longer use an x. We have to use that little dot if we want something to mean to multiply. So if I have 2 times 6, right? That dot means to multiply. If I have 3 times b, that dot also means to multiply. However, there's a few other ways that could mean to multiply. If I had a times 4, that's the same thing as just 4a. I can lose the dot if I have a number and a letter. If I have 8 times x, that's the same thing as just 8 times, that's the same thing as saying 8x, right? I can lose the dot. It's the same thing, they're still multiplying. You can't forget that they're multiplying. All right, another way to look at that is, what if I have 2 times 3, right? The parentheses means to multiply as well. 2 times 3 would give us the 6. That's the same exact thing as 2 times 3, which gives us 6. So there's different ways to show if something is multiplying. And then last, let's look at that division, right? Because the opposite of multiplication would be division. So let's look at a few different ways that can be seen. Well, 6 divided by 2 would give me 3, right? There's my division sign. Or I could say 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. This is also the division sign. A fraction is just a big division sign. Let's look. So if I have a division sign, right, here's my division sign. Well, those dots could just represent different numbers, right? So here's the same thing. Here's my line. But instead of a dot, I'll put a 2 there. And instead of a dot, I'll put a 6 there. It's still a division sign. So anytime you see a division sign or a fraction, remember that's division as well. And the opposite of division is to multiply. The opposite of multiply is division. So let's go ahead and identify some. So this will be our number 1. We are just going to identify what is being done. All right, so 2 plus 3, I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do the first 4 with you guys. So 2 plus 3, well, that's addition, right? I've got a plus sign. All right, number 2, I've got 3 plus, sorry about that. Let's do 8 minus 5. All right, well, I see a subtraction sign, so that would be subtraction. All right, number 3, I have this. What's 2 times a? Well, the dot means multiply, so we're multiplying there. All right, number 4. Well, that says 6 divided by 3. That sign's saying a division sign, so we're dividing. Number 5. Well, remember, parentheses means to multiply, so we're multiplying again. All right, number 6. Well, 2 over 8. Well, remember, this is a big division sign, right? So it's 2 divided by 8, so that'd be division. All right, I'm gonna give you a few to do on your own. Okay, so go ahead and take 3 minutes on your own, and I want you to just write underneath these, what are we doing? Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? And we'll be right back. All right, let's see how you did. Well, this one we got a plus sign, so we're adding. Right, there's a plus sign. This sign, there's no signs, right? But if 7 and x are next to each other, that's multiply. Over here, I've got a number over a number. Well, remember, that's the same thing as my division sign. So I'm dividing. Over here, I see a minus sign, so we're subtracting. And then right here, parentheses, I've got to distribute. That's multiply, so we are multiplying. All right, hope you got those all right. Let's go ahead and move on. We're going to move to topic 2. All right, so topic 2, we are going to start identifying the opposites. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this one. I've got 6x plus 2 equals, we're gonna go with 8. So we have to identify what is being done in order to solve for our x, right? This is an equation. I've got an equal sign. Our job is we're gonna solve for the x that's right there. So we're gonna move the 6 and the 2 away from the x by doing the opposites, okay? So the first thing I have to do, I have to identify what's being done to x. Well, x is being multiplied by 6, so let's write that down. Multiplied by 6, and it is being added by 2. So we have to do the opposite of that. So we're gonna bring down 6x plus 2, and we have to think, well, what's the opposite of adding by 2? It would be to subtract by 2. So we're gonna subtract 2. Now, whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do on the other. Both sides have to remain equal. So we're gonna bring down the equal 8 and subtract 2.